to learn to live from the end rather than about the end. To whatever it is that you place into your imagination, to be able to hold it there and place your attention on that rather than on what you see out here in the rest of the world, in your physical world. You act, I call it acting as if. And this is where you say the words I am. And, I am wealthy. I am happy. I am well. I am kind. I am love. I am God. That is your I amness. You're just referring to the qualities, I call them in the power of intention, the faces of intention. And as you place your attention on these, and you start to live from the end rather than thinking about the end, only in your imagination. Because if you stay there, what you have in your imagination has to manifest, especially if, since you're God, and the I Am Discourse is one of the things I like best about it is you don't ask for anything. You're not asking God to do something for you. You're not asking for any special favors. You're demanding it. You're insisting upon it. God doesn't have to ask if it's okay. I insist that this manifest. I intend that this will be a part of my life. This is something that I am absolutely creating. This isn't something that I hope. And you don't go in your prayer work to God and ask God to understand your conflicts. And the Course in Miracles, it says, well, I've got it written out. It's even better. I think the last thing I have to read. Listen to this. The memory of God comes to the quiet mind. It cannot come where there is conflict. A mind at war with itself remembers not eternal gentleness. The memory of God comes to the quiet mind. It cannot come where there is conflict. Why is that so? God is oneness. You remember earlier, you cannot divide this thing called God. You can't divide it up. It's oneness. In the Shift book, that was the hardest thing that I had to write. This whole idea of understanding oneness, because we always think of two-ness. So if you pray to God to solve your conflicts, and God were to acknowledge your conflicts, God would no longer be God. Because God, oneness, cannot represent two-ness, or recognize or know anything about it. That's why it says, a mind at war with itself remembers not eternal gentleness. Conflict is something that isn't in the mind of God. If oneness says, okay, you got conflict, in order to have conflict, you have to have what? Two, don't you? So it must be something that you're in conflict with. Oneness can't recognize two-ness, because if it did, oneness would now become two-ness. It can't know anything about that. So praying to God to solve your conflicts, total waste of your energy, total waste of time. What you want to do is become that and say to yourself, I am God. I am God. This is who I am. This is hard, because there's people in here I know who are going, well, that's just blasphemy. That's a meme. If you really just look at this, it's not possible. It's not possible for you to be anything other than what you came from. And oneness is what you are. That's where you want to go. Now, as long as you're in a body and you have an ego, there's going to be dichotomies. There's going to be these shifts, But you're working at understanding the oneness. There's a place within you where oneness runs rampant. And that's where you want to go. So you think from the end. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is so good when you get it, that you have placed into your mind what it is you want to attract. You are thinking from the end. This is who you are now in your imagination. And you have assumed the feeling of this wish fulfilled. This is what I have done with my leukemia. This is why I don't say to myself, I am sick. I just say, I am. That's enough. I am. And this body is not who I am. I am that which is well. That's how I think. And that's what I know. I feel that in my body. And it isn't until you feel it. You can't think a feeling. The feeling is something that comes to you as a result of you being it experientially in your mind. You feel it in every pore of your body. It feels good. You have decided that you want to be well. You have decided that you want to be healthy. You have decided that you want to be prosperous, whatever it might be. You place your attention on that. You think from that end. Now, someone comes along and says, didn't you see that article in the, on USA Today? Didn't you see, people send me this stuff all the time. Here's something that just came off the internet. It's like CLL is incurable. It says this right here. Every doctor in the country knows that's, every oncologist will tell you that CLL. I had a oncologist when I first went to when I found out I had this leukemia, and I said to him, there's a study that was done at the Menninger Clinic about green tea, and that people who drink green tea on a regular basis and so on, and it's organic and blah, 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 that they've been able to reduce their leukemia down to practically normal rates. And the oncologist sat there and he said, green tea is not a treatment for leukemia. And so we talked for a little bit longer, and then I said, but, this was the manager clinic. And it's like, these are the top doctors in the field, and they reported these amazing results just with green tea. And Dr. Dyer, green tea is not a treatment for leukemia. And I left. I just left. I said, but if he doesn't, I've always believed you have to have a mind that's open to everything and attached nowhere. All right, that's from Talopa. Just have a mind that's open. His mind was totally shut off to any part, and it doesn't make any difference whether green tea or not green tea is going to reduce it. The idea that this is a closed-off person, and I'm now working with a spiritual oncologist in San Diego, Dr. Dan Vicario. And my last treatment with him was to spend a half a day walking through the Yogananda Gardens down in Carlsbad, in California, and just breathe in the beauty of where Yogananda lived before he passed away down there in San Diego County, and just see the flowers and just be out there and just be at peace.